With some breaking news, which I'm sure you're seeing at home on your screen at the moment. A UK court has granted the NPA'S Investigative Directorate permission to extradite a fugitive's name that I'm sure you will remember from a couple of years ago, specifically 2021, that name being Michael Lomas. This all has to do with his links, his alleged links to the 745 million, that's right, 745 million rand fraud and corruption case involving Eskom, involving Kusile power station. So how did we get this right, and is this now a done deal? Independent Directorate spokesperson Cindy Saboka joining us now. Cindy, good morning to you. Appreciate the time. So is this now a done deal, or is there an appeals process that can still be followed?
Like with most jurisdictions, you know that there's the first leg and then there's the possible appeal process and various other steps. However, we're comforted to know that the judgment came out in our favor, showing that we've successfully won this particular round. It was not an easy battle. It was a back and forth for a couple of years, where we had to also ensure that we get a written report from correctional services detailing the state of our prisons, as well as a back and forth in terms of the submissions that were required by that very court. You know that the UK considers many factors before they allow for one of their own to be extradited. So this is a hard-fought win. However, Advocate Andrea Johnson, as well as the team, we're quite excited.
I understand completely. I imagine if there was some sort of appeal process as well, the fact that a court this high, this influential in the UK has granted this extradition as well, there's a possibility that even the appeal might not work. So when do we expect to see Michael Lomas in South Africa? What's the nuts and bolts of getting him here?
So what basically happens now is that the judgment was sent to the political head in that particular area through the UN Convention of Corruption 2003, where the state security will then have to make a determination of what happens forth. However, between now and 7 days, Michael Lomas has the opportunity to then approach a higher court and request the appeal process to begin, failing which the next step would then be to find out how to then get Michael Lomas back into the country. You know that his co-accused, who were arrested in 2019 already, it's been that long, are expected back in court on the 5th of April for further pre-trial proceedings before trial can commence. There was a lot of delay tactics on their end.
I imagine when it comes to any sort of extradition agreements, extradition treaties, there's a lot of negotiation between our government, in this case NPA and the Investigative Directorate, and UK authorities as well. Is it very difficult to get an extradition done between these two countries? Because I imagine the UK side would want very stringent conditions if they were to extradite him. Would that be fair and correct to say?
Yes, it is quite difficult, looking at the fact that there's a whole host of facts that they need to consider. Is the person a UK citizen? Is the person somebody who just resides in the UK but not necessarily a citizen? They have to consider the prison conditions, the state of prison conditions in the particular country in which they want, in which is requesting rather for the particular person to come stand trial. They also have to look at that particular country if they are signatories to various conventions, which means that they'll not be tortured, they'll not be harmed, but they'll have to go through a rigorous process before they go to before they're sentenced rather. So they basically look at the type of the country requesting this particular extradition. They also look at the gravity of the offenses so alleged to have been committed and the evidence, as well as whether that particular case is already before court or is almost before court, and if a warrant has been issued. So there's a number of prescripts that are looked at before determination is made. But even at that point, there's also trial that takes place, or a hearing that takes place, where the country requesting the person to be extradited has to put up a fight before the person is extradited.
And just briefly, you're talking about the severity of the charges. Cindy, just in the last few moments I have with you, if you don't mind, just to remind us of the charges that Michael Lomas is facing now and that he will be facing if he were to be extradited back to our country.
So Michael Lomas is part of, or if he were to come to South Africa, is part of 4 other co-accused who were charged with corruption as well as fraud linked to the 745 million Eskom Kusile case. He's also, if he were to come back into the country, to face the restraint order of over 1.4 billion that was issued against his counterparts, where various assets have thus been restrained pending the finalization of the 745 million criminal case.
Well, I appreciate your time in being able to speak to us so quickly about this breaking news. You can see, I'm sure, bottom of your screen at the moment, the well-known name of Michael Lomas over in the UK at the moment. A United Kingdom court granting the NPA's, we just heard from the NPA's Investigative Directorate, to extradite him back to South Africa to face charges amounting to 745 million rands worth of fraud in an Eskom case involving Kusile power station. My thanks to the Investigative Directorate spokesperson, Sindisiwe Saboka.